Welcome to Modern Entrepreneur. I'm Landon Ray, and today I have Alaia Williams, who is a business operations strategist, speaker, and community cultivator. She connects business owners with the exact resources they need to optimize their business and life. As the creator of the Entrepreneur Connection, a 900-member strong networking group in Los Angeles, Alaia knows firsthand that when people connect in community, they learn and grow, and their business gets exactly what they need to thrive. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, so tell me, it's cool to be a connector, but what is your actual business? Like, how do you earn money? Or do you charge for connections?
I don't charge for connections, but I charge for other related things. Primarily, I'm a business system strategist, as you mentioned. So day to day, I help people get the right systems and processes in place to help them grow their businesses.
Got it.
And after I launched my business, it grew into other things like the Entrepreneur Connection, where my focus is connecting entrepreneurs through events. So I don't charge for the connections, but I charge for events.
Understand. So how long have you been at it?
10 years.
10 years now. So if you could go back to 10 years younger you and give yourself a piece of advice that would have eased the struggle, what would it be?
It would actually be, don't quit your day job so quickly.
Interesting. And why?
You know, I think a lot of people get excited about what they're after and they jump and they leap, and that's what I did. And I think it would have been better to stay at the job I had for a little while longer, plan a little more, save a little more, because I was not prepared for the peaks and valleys of entrepreneurship. So I think if I had more of a cushion financially, I could have smoothed out some of those dips in the road.
Yeah, it sounds like you're not saying the trauma that probably happened. There's some trauma there that
yeah, you know, hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
But I definitely think planning out my business a little bit more, saving would have been a smart move.
So would you have recommended nights and weekendsing it until you got real traction, or would you have just planned more and had a nest egg and then taken the leap, or what would have been the best strategy, you think?
Nights and weekends for sure.
Yeah.
I would have snowballed my business more, more clients, more income, then maybe switch from a full-time job to a part-time job versus just leaving the job, completely and being off on my own 100%.
It's interesting. We, as entrepreneurs, we do want to dive in, but also there's something about desperation that's not particularly attractive. And when we get ourselves into that place where we're like, holy crap, this is way harder than I thought. I need this next customer. It's almost like a customer repellent.
Oh yeah.
Right. And and when you have the confidence to pick and choose a little bit more, somehow things work out better, right?
Yeah, and I think I felt like I was very successful in the beginning because I was constantly booked, but what I didn't know was that I wasn't charging enough. These are things I didn't think about. So because I was charging the same rate that I was making at my day job, I felt like I was doing well. And I was wondering why I was getting so many clients, but it was because I was charging less than other people in my industry. My rates were way too low, and so people were like, sure. And so I was running around town, spending gas, not tracking mileage. I really wasn't planning, but I was excited about what I was doing, so that's why I just jumped in.
Yeah.
And so if I had thought about that a little more, thought about my pricing, there are still plenty of mistakes you can make along the way. It wouldn't have been perfect, but I could have alleviated some headaches for sure.
Yeah, so what was at some point you kind of figured that out and probably made a shift that then began to work. Was it just the shift in pricing?
No, it was the way I charge sometimes versus the pricing. So from hourly to packages and retainers, that was a big one, but also growing my network. And that's where the connections kind of come from. I started my networking group. I spent time connecting with entrepreneurs because before I started networking, I didn't know entrepreneurs. My friends all went to master's programs or 9-to-5 jobs. There were no entrepreneurs in my family. So once I built a community and felt supported and had other people referring business to me or suggesting that I speak somewhere or teach somewhere, that really changed.
Yeah.
So more business was coming in, I was making more because I was charging differently. So I think two of those things are probably the biggest things that helped me make that switch.
And what was the thing that made you realize that you needed to make the switch?
I was burning out.
And how many years was that in?
Oh my gosh. Probably about 3 years in. When I started my business, I was primarily helping people organize their homes. I wasn't focused on the entrepreneurial side. So faced with the recession and people feeling like organizing my home is a luxury, why am I gonna deal with this now? I had to think, how do I push forward with my business? So I changed my pricing, and also having so many entrepreneur connections now, I thought, maybe I should focus on helping entrepreneurs and teach them some of the things I've learned while growing my business. And so I made that switch, changed the pricing. But yeah, it was the recession and being burned out and driving all over LA in crazy traffic, you know, from clients all over town, and still feeling like I'm working 50, 60 hours a week and not making enough money. This just isn't working, you know. Do I make a change, or do I just go back to whatever I was doing before, sitting in an office? And that was a big motivator for me.
Yeah. And so now it's working. And what is it? Obviously, networking is one piece of it. Does 100% of your business come through this networking thing, or do you have other things that's working to drive customers for you?
It's a lot of the business system stuff, speaking, training. I love to teach. So I produce events. I speak at other events. So people get exposed to me that way. I love to teach classes, so I do a lot of that through the Entrepreneur Connection. But I'll do workshops, webinars, live streams through my own consulting practice. So it's great because I get to do a lot of things that I love, and the income comes from a lot of different places.
And when you go into a business, you've probably seen a lot of businesses kind of on the inside at this point. What is the kind of low-hanging fruit that you see like over and over again? What is the systems mistake that people are making that you know, most of us have?
People have systems in place, whether they realize it or not. They either have the wrong systems for their business, or they're not utilizing them fully. People aren't consistent with the marketing. It's choppy. They're doing it, they're on social, they have email lists, but they're not consistent, they don't have a plan. That's one thing that no matter what system I'm going in to help someone with, we always usually end up swinging back to marketing too.
We had, you know, this long history, like traditional marketing was done in campaigns. And so people think of, like, I'm gonna run a marketing campaign. And a campaign like has a start and a finish, right? There's still a gap in kind of like understanding often that that's actually not how it's done anymore. You may run a campaign, but fundamentally a campaign is in support of a marketing system that's gotta run all the time, right? So, so you're helping people install those kind of systems in their businesses.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and where does that start? Like, what is the basic bare bones system look like that you install?
The main thing I want to make sure that everybody who works with me has is some kind of email marketing system, that they're building a list. Social media changes, but you know, if Facebook goes away tomorrow, at least you have a way to reach out to every customer or potential customer. So I always try to make sure they've got something in place for email at the bare minimum, and the rest we can build based on their goals and their audience and where they want to go.
Cool. So what are you learning now? What's kind of like your own cutting edge? What are you struggling with?
I really want to get smarter about Facebook ads. I have like a basic knowledge, but I want to get more into custom audiences and things like that. They're so powerful, and now that I've expanded my business from services to products as well, I think that there's a lot more opportunity for me with Facebook ads.
Yeah. Yes, for all of us.
Yes.
If you can imagine 20, 30 years down the road, looking back, what is the thing that you would like to have built? What would you like your legacy to be?
I think that's where the Entrepreneur Connection is really the heart of what I do. I really like fostering those connections and helping other entrepreneurs feel like they're not alone in the journey, because that's how I felt in the beginning. And I know I felt frustrated, like I wasn't going to be able to succeed. And it wasn't true, but I just had no one to bounce ideas off of. I didn't have a community, I didn't have support. And so I'd like to look back and have people, you know, say all these things about how I connected them with their new best friend or a great business partner or something like that. A relationship that caused them to have a light bulb moment or foster some big change in their life. And whenever I hear those stories from people, that's my favorite thing. So I just want to do more of that on a grander scale and really help small businesses grow, because I know what it feels like to feel alone when you're growing a business.
And lastly, we've called this thing the modern entrepreneur. We're trying to kind of uncover what the unique opportunities and maybe the unique responsibilities are for entrepreneurs today. What do you think that is?
Well, from my vantage point with working with entrepreneurs, it's stepping more into that CEO or leader role and getting out of the weeds, letting go of control, delegating. It's an ongoing struggle with entrepreneurs, but when I see people tripping up, that's usually what's causing it. Same with me. Whenever I'm tripping up in my business, it's like I'm doing too much. I've got my hands in too many things. Let go, delegate. So that's a big one.
Alaia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
it was a total
you.
pleasure. Would you sign our wall?
Absolutely. I'd love to.
All right. Thanks.